The original plan for this was in the very, very first boards that David ever did for the movie. David has this sort of, always has cool title sequences. So one of the first things David said was that he wanted it to be real. He wanted it to feel really, really real. So, which is part of the reason why we ended up with Kevin Mack, because he's a fruitcake about brain science. I mean, he just, for fun, he goes to conferences and talks to neuroscientists, right? So he was kind of a shoo-in. But we needed to storyboard it, and it needed to be basically a ride film. And I've worked on ride films before, and the biggest problem is that they're one cut. So in a number of conversations with David, it became clear that what we needed is to do our own ride film map. So we hired this woman, Catherine Jones, who's a medical illustrator, has a lot of experience in like interactive and other kinds of computer stuff. But primarily one of the big things that sort of sold David on her is that she worked on the Visible Human project, where they sliced up people and then they show you what it looks like to go in as out of someone. And she had some neuroscience background as well. She's one of the few people I know who likes to watch surgeries. She'll say, well, what are you doing this weekend? Well, there's this great surgery up at Wisconsin. I'm going up there to watch this guy go in his brain and take this tumor out. And it's like, sure. Anyway, so she got in there, sat down with David. They talked about what it ought to look like. David came up with the idea that it should look like a night dive. There should be sort of a source of light coming from us, and then there's sort of some kind of ambient light, but not very much. And it would be really dark. He was really happy to find out that the brain had no color to it, basically, internally. So it could be really monochromatic. She did some research. She talked to him about it and ultimately picked a spot in the brain where we should start, which is sort of where a fearful thought in the amygdala would probably begin, and then mapped out, of course, how we'd get from there out to his forehead. And ultimately, she produced this book that had all the different rooms. In ride film terms, we had all the rooms worked out. And most of the doors, how do you get around this corner so you can dump the room that you just came from and get onto the one that you're in, and all those sorts of things. So we had all that when Kevin Mack finally got started. I know that once he realized he was going to be awarded it, he also did a lot of work on his own, on shaders and stuff, which was kind of like off the books and getting ready. But in the long run, they had to turn out this massive amount of film in no time at all. So it was kind of interesting. And unfortunately, of course, you've got these big bright titles over the top that kind of hide a lot of the work, who were done by Scott Makla. He came on, designed the font. He was Mr. Font. He believed in fonts, and he worked up something for Fight Club. And then shortly after that, actually, he died one morning. It was like, we got this like rumor coming from Wyden Kennedy or something. He was just like really quick. Young man, boom, overnight. But David originally wanted the titles to only be on legibly for about 8 frames, and then have this sort of after image, like a retinal purple thing going down for maybe another 2 or 3 seconds, so that you could read them sort of as an after image over the top of the thing. But you had to be like on the edge of your seat to catch anybody's title. But there were like lots of legal problems with that, so ultimately it didn't happen.